Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm sharing how I made this summer door hanger. It was such a fun project to make and now I just want to make more of these. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did and subscribe if you are new to my channel. I would love to have you here. First, I'm going to start off showing how I prepared my wood. I bought this at Home Depot, I believe for around $7 to $8. I will try to find a link and put that in my description box below. This is the 18-inch one, but they sell different sizes. It is pretty heavy. If you are looking for one that is lighter, they do sell some on Amazon. I can link some of those as well. However, I have not tried any of the Amazon ones. The wood is pretty smooth, but I wanted to sand it down just a little before I stained it. When you are sanding, make sure to sand with the grain of the wood. The stain I'm using is red mahogany. I also bought this at Home Depot and I absolutely love this stain color. It is really pretty and I can leave this link down below as well. I like to use a t-shirt to stain and I love doing it this way. I shared part of my process on Instagram and I had so many people message me that they use socks to stain, which is so smart, so I will probably start doing that. I also had someone else say they like to first stain with a brush, then go back in with a shirt or rag, so I thought that was a great tip as well. The wood had a sticker on it and I did a terrible job trying to get it off, so you can see that bare space where the stain didn't want to stick to it. So this ended up being the back of the door hanger. Also, I like to stain the back, front, and the sides. I feel like it just makes it look nicer. I probably could have sanded the round edges down a little better to help with the stain because it didn't want to go on as smoothly, but it ended up looking fine. I waited for the stain to dry some, then I turned it around and stained the other side. I would wait also for the stain to dry for 24 hours before you move on to your next step with the project. I ended up waiting a few days because I had multiple projects going on at once. After I let the stain dry for at least 24 hours, I add polyacrylic, which is water-based, over my wood to seal it. I also really like to use this because it helps the vinyl stick to the wood so much better. I also like this over an oil-based sealer because it doesn't cause any yellow tint to the finished project. I use a stir stick to stir it up. I do this slowly to try to prevent air bubbles. I don't shake the can at all either. I like to do this outside so it's well ventilated, but I also do this in my garage so there's not a lot of wind, and I do that to try to reduce air bubbles as well. I'm using a foam brush and I like to go in somewhat slow strokes starting at the top. I like to do 3 coats of polyacrylic, waiting for it to dry in between, which only takes about 30 minutes to dry in between. It dries pretty quickly. This is just my method that I use. Let me know what you like to do when you're sealing your wood. I know everybody does it differently. You can also see I missed some spots, so that's another reason why I like to do a few coats. I do the sides as well, and I guess I didn't film me doing the second 2 coats, but I do want to mention the wood felt a little rough at first after adding the polyacrylic, so I was worried about the vinyl sticking, but after letting it sit overnight, it was much better. I bought this bow from Michaels. The brand is Celebrate It. I would really like to learn how to make bows, but I haven't tried that yet. I have seen a bow maker at Michaels. Let me know if you use that and if you like that. I placed the bow on my wood round, then measured out where I wanted the vinyl to go so I knew how to size it in Cricut Design Space. And I'll show you how I do that in Cricut Design Space now. I'm going to go over to Uploads, then select my SVG. I'll insert that into Cricut Design Space and I'm going to make it smaller. Here's the SVG that I'm going to be using for my door hanger, and this image is available for patrons. We're up to over 100 SVGs right now, and you can use these for personal or commercial use, and you can also join our private Facebook group over there. So if you want to check it out, just click on the link in the description box. My wood round is 18 inches, and I measured it and I was going back and forth trying to decide what size to make it, but I am going to do 11.5 for the width. So I'll type that in there, and then it makes it, oh, not 115. So 11.5, and it makes it about 7.5 inches for the height. Now I'm just going to change the colors of everything. So I'll click on Ungroup. Then I am going to change Hello to white. I want to make this white vinyl. And for these hand-drawn SVGs, I use them a lot in my videos, so you probably hear me talk about it a lot. But there is so many layers in it, which does make it a little bit more confusing. But I'll show you how I work with it. So for the actual popsicle sticks, I'm going to make these all the same color. So I'm going to highlight over all of these. And I'm going to make it a tannish color. So I'll just kind of move it over there and just do that. What I'm also going to do is attach all of these popsicle sticks together. It's kind of a great trick to make sure that your popsicles are lined up on the wood. If you were stenciling, it wouldn't be a problem, but when you're putting vinyl on, it makes it a little bit harder to line it up. So that's kind of a nice little trick, and I'll show you what I mean when I put it on the board. But now for the popsicles, these are sliced out. So if I were to put this on my board, you would see brown where the letters are. So what I want is the background of the popsicle to be a color, and I want to just put white vinyl on top of it. To be able to do this, it gets a little bit complicated, but what I'm going to do is I have just this piece, and I'll move it around so you can kind of see it's all one piece and it's all one layer. I'm just going to hit undo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contour so I can get that other piece. And hopefully when you see it, it'll make more sense, because I feel like I'm not making sense. But what you do is hit duplicate. I'm going to move this over. Then what I'm going to do is click on this one. I'll go down to contour, and I'm going to take out the S so I have just the background. So that makes it just solid. For this one, I want just the S so that I can cut it out on white vinyl. I'll click on contour and get rid of the other piece. Then you can just click out of there, and I'm going to change this to white, and then I can just bring this right over here. And for this first color, I want it to be pink, so I'll show you. I'll change that to pink. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. The pink I have is a little bit brighter, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm just going to do the same thing for all of these pieces, but what I'm also going to do is keep all the letters black, and I'll show you a quicker way using the color sync to make it white. So I will do that real quick here. For this one, I'm actually just going to duplicate the M so I don't even have to go through the contour process. So I'm just going to duplicate that, and down here I'll just contour out the M. Another weird thing is the R is two separate pieces, so it makes it a little confusing, but what I'm going to do is just weld it together. You can see it's because it has the little inside of the R, so I am just going to weld these two pieces together, and then it'll be like a normal letter. It gets kind of complicated with all the layers. So I'll just duplicate that again, then I will contour this out. Okay, really hope that made sense. It gets kind of complicated with the contour button. I know when I was first starting out with a Cricut, the contour button was kind of the most confusing to me, but now I actually use the contour button all the time to kind of change up my design. I think what I'll do next is just change the color of my popsicles, so I will just change them to whatever color vinyl I'm going to be using. So those are the colors I'm going to be using. Now I want to change all of these to white. So what I'm actually going to do is go up to the upper right corner, click on color sync. Then this is awesome too. You just drag it into the white and it changes it super fast. It's so much faster than going up to the square every single time. So I like that little trick too. So now I'm just going to bring these over. And you know what I might do is attach all the white pieces too. So in Cricut Design Space, you can attach all of the same color. I won't be able to attach all the different colors, but if I'm able to attach the popsicle sticks and the words for summer, then I might be able to have it a little bit straighter. So I think I'm going to give that a try. I'm just hitting shift on my keyboard just to select all of them, and you can double check in the layers panel that all those letters are selected, and you can see they're not perfectly lined up. So first what I'm going to do is align to bottom, so that will line it up, and then I want to choose distribute horizontally. That'll make sure that it's in the center and it's also lined up at the bottom. Now I'm just going to click attach. Now I'm ready to click on make it. It will separate all of the colors onto different mats. So it'll prompt you which one to go first. So it looks like it'll cut out the white first and it will go down from there. And you can see how summer's attached, so it keeps it like that on the mat, and that's also the same with this. So hopefully that'll make it easier to line it all up. Now I'll click continue. I'm going to select vinyl on my machine. The Cricut will cut out all the different color vinyl. It will prompt me on Cricut Design Space on which color vinyl it will be cutting out next. Here, I'm just weeding out the negative space of the vinyl. Now I'm just lining everything up to figure out where I want to put everything. I'm not sure if you can see that line going down on the right side of my wood, but my sandpaper was sitting on it and I accidentally slid it against the board. I don't know how I managed to do that, but it made a couple lines going down it, but thankfully it's not too noticeable and I'm making this for myself and not for somebody else. Next, I take some painter's tape. There should be a line in the wood. I found that and placed the tape along it. I'm using that to line up the popsicle stick straight. Lining everything up straight was definitely the hardest part of this whole project. And when it comes to crafts with me, I am such a perfectionist. And it's so funny because in real life without crafts, I am not a perfectionist at all. Then I take some transfer tape. I'm using Duck brand contact paper. I like the Duck brand the best for contact paper. You can buy it at Walmart or Amazon. Then I like to press the front and back and pull the backing away from the transfer paper to help it stick. Then I place the bottom of the popsicle sticks right along the tape. Then I take the transfer paper off. Now I add the other pieces of vinyl to the board. To make sure the popsicle was in the center, I folded the back of it just a tiny bit to find the center. I like to use the same transfer paper piece for all of the other vinyl. I also just did my best to line it up at the bottom and on the sides. I just love the bright colors of this vinyl, and I forgot to mention that I'm using Oracal 651 vinyl, which is my favorite permanent vinyl to use. Now I'm adding the Hello and Summer vinyl. I'm so glad I attached Summer together. It made it so much easier to line it up straight. I also want to mention that I do not seal anything over the vinyl when I'm done since it's permanent vinyl, but I feel like I see so many different things of people who do seal it and people who don't. So I would love it if you let me know in the comments what you do. I decided to add D-hooks to the back. I bought this off of Amazon. I meant to buy the bigger ones, but these still worked. I think staples would work really well too. If you are using one of these heavier boards, you might need to use more than one staple on each side of the rope. I used my measuring tape and marked 4 inches in on each side so I knew where to drill my hooks. First, I made them too low, and when I went to hang my door hanger, it fell forward some at the top, so I ended up taking the screws out and drilling the D-hooks closer to the top of the board. This is the rope I'm using. I also bought this at Michael's, and you can use whatever you want to hang the door hanger. You can see how I switched the D-hooks to the way top, then I slide the rope through and I tie a knot. The only part that I'm worried about with this method of hanging is the knot coming loose. So the staples might be the better way to go. If you have made door hangers in the past, let me know in the comments how you hang them. Next, I hot glue the bow down and add some greenery to the top. I've had this greenery for a while and I'm pretty sure I bought it at Hobby Lobby. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love how this turned out. It was super fun to make. I would love to hear your methods of making door hangers because I know we all do it differently. If you are interested in this Hello Summer image plus several others, you can check out my Patreon account in the description box below, and I hope you guys all have a great day.